Hi, I'm Michael Forrest and today's devlog is about documentation, which I create in Coda and ingest into Phoenix, onto my Elixir Phoenix backend. So this came from Philip on Discord, who was asking about URL schemes, and honestly the implementation of those URL schemes is quite piecemeal and chaotic, so I thought I'd just solve the problem with documentation, and then as part of this I ended up thinking about that documentation process, and I thought I'd show you that today. So I use Coda, which is a tool that lets you create documents basically with built-in relational databases inside them, but you can sort of link tables to other tables, which I think works better than spreadsheets. I think Notion does something similar, but I found this first, so I've been using this for ages. So this is my master document in Coda, so all my how-to guides sort of sit like in this big table. Well, this is sort of like a nested table, so I have like the group and then I have all the documentation in here, and then I can sort of like put whatever columns I want here. And then if we're sort of like editing something, how to use Video Pencil's Magic Wand tool, there's some metadata that I can sort of like keep updating, have the slug, have the the group, the level. So is it simple, difficult, or expert, or intermediate? I've got like animated GIFs, which then my backend knows that there's an original .mp4 file somewhere on a server as well. The way images work is a little bit awkward because Coda doesn't really give you the images unless you kind of have them as image formulas, which so I've had to like hack together a little Chrome extension that lets me create that image path from an image that I've pasted into Coda, because one of the reasons I wanted to use Coda was to be able to just paste those images in. But yeah, so you see there's a lot of documentation in here, but also you see quite a few of these are kind of like slightly out of date since CueCam 3, and that's what this progress bar is at the top. Like, how many of these do I need to like update before I can sort of call that documentation done? And this is just the formula map, if you want to look at that. That just makes it red or green depending on whether it has a blank guide or changes are needed. So that's how I'm editing everything. And then Coda has an API. So we're looking at Insomnium here. So I'm making this call to the APIs. That's the document name. That's the table that I want. So I've sort of like figured out what I've done this in advance because I'm only ever like hitting this one document, one table. I don't need that to be dynamic. And we can grab rows, and then I use column names and the value format. I have a rich value format. So here you see it's bringing through, in this case, the group rows. So it starts off by taking the sections so that they can be in the right order. And then after that, it's going to start like bringing the documents. So what we have here is the items are, so this is the sidebar stuff. This is installation and setup. That's the group, it's got an image, and then the guides are listed here. And then we've got dashboard related stuff, that's a bit out of date, and there's all the guides. We've got the remote control stuff, we've got whatever else is in account and billing. So it just lists out the documents in order, and then I know what these document IDs are, and I can go and grab them. So if I want to then grab all the rows, I can take, is this working? I can grab all the rows from Coda. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That was actually a reason that I was looking at this today, because it was timing out. But basically, to access this, you are going to need to do these sort of authorization bearer token thing. So but I've been sort of like running this off the same token for ages. But that's just in my environment on my hosting. So Coda has an API so I have a live view. Which is like a little back end for syncing those documents in. So this kind of, there's a handle event sync with Coda, and so this is all slightly in the wrong place. And like with a lot of this stuff, you end up with kind of messy code because you're sort of hacking stuff together that only you're ever going to use. And so like this is probably where some of the more sketchy code that I'm responsible for lives. But we can see, this is quite sort of big. Let's make this a bit wider. So we can see I grab the doc index, and then I fetch the docs, and then I sort of map through those docs. And the most important thing here is probably this pre-process thing, and then it sort of inserts them into the database. Don't ask me why they're called packs. That's a story for another time. But we can have a look at the pre-process thing. So, well, here's the sync docs index. So it just uses HTTP poison, grabs the thing. You see that's the same thing that was in Insomnium. And you know, the headers that I have kind of take my environment variable from there, and then it sort of like maps those items into a sync group call, and then the sync group call, I'm doing pattern matching. I love Elixir for this kind of thing, because you can just like match on what the format of the data is going to be. So you see ID, index, values, you can just nest that in and just put, you know, just reformat it really easily. I love Elixir for this. So that syncs the group and then just like updates the group. It's basically to put everything in the right order. And then I was going to show you the pre-process thing. So this happens to every file. So it takes the markdown. So it goes and replaces the links with. So if it sees that there's a pack, if it sees there's a document, so I can link between documents in Coda, but there'll be Coda links. But if I see that the title matches something that I've got in my database, then I sort of do a little cheeky workaround to stop it going to Coda, and then this lets me process this again so that I can turn it into, you know, this. So yeah, you see this space prevents the markdown link being turned into an image later, and then yeah, it's all very hacky, to be honest. And then also I'm looking for this static squares.tv, and then like turning these into images and stuff. So that replaces the links with images. We do some stuff with images here as well. GIFs. I'm looking for videos in here. So I've got a little syntax that I use, and then a little bit of tidying up. So that sort of goes through all of it. So there's quite a lot of processing that goes on. And then the documentation rendering is, so you can call these components. So this is using, sorry, this is really big. This is using Phoenix component. So if we kind of jump back down to where we were, Phoenix component lets you sort of like do sort of dot how to doc, and then, you know, pack equals, you know, that kind of thing, in an HTML view. And then that's what this looks like. So it sort of takes the markdown that you give, well, it takes the pack, it grabs the markdown, it uses MDX to HTML, it does it like the search results, it will highlight, it will kind of look for videos, it will sort of like look for YouTube videos so that it can put those in. But basically like a load of hacky awkward stuff just to sort of bring that in. So I added a doc in Coda. So what I did was, here's the bit of so if we find Coda, right, so here's a, so I basically went in here and went like, let's add it. I wasn't sure what section to add it in, so it ended up the deep links. I just added a new one. That's deep. Yeah, deep links supported by CueCam Presenter. I put that here. So I just added a new row here, and then sort of like went through the source code here and went, okay, what are we looking for in our URL scheme? CueCam next, previous, stop, start, sign in, camera, and then all the iPad stuff like iPad. iPad control has a whole sort of subset of commands which all have their own strings. So I basically went through it. Put it in this Coda doc, and then I just had to sync it using my little backend screen. So if I click on admin docs, we've got this little button up here, sync how-tos, and that will just go away and sort of sync, and I can see when, so you see that deep links was updated 3 hours ago. So that will just bring that in, and then it all ends up on this page. So this is the documentation page under help. So sort of the tutorials are up at the top, but now all the documentation is here, and you can sort of like unfold them or click into them. Sorry, I clicked, so that will unfold it. You can sort of unfold them, or you can sort of click into it and go like, you know, forwards to the next one, forwards to the next one. Or if you're kind of looking for a specific thing, there's a search box. So if I just search for deep links, it's going to show me deep links supported by CueCam Presenter, and I can see that document. So it's actually a pretty dry one. There's no pictures, but I just, that's kind of how I got that in there. Right, I've taken you through the devlog, but I also want to describe a common issue that I have making these videos. So today I was thinking, shower thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could jump to, show you the right bit of code without having to kind of jump through it myself or take screenshots. And if you're used to coding, you're used to like holding down Option or Command in your terminal and clicking on the thing, and it jumps you to the file and the line number. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just add that to CueCam as a new type of trigger. And of course, like, this is sort of the pitfall of being the developer of the tool that I'm using to make the videos, is that it's very easy to me to get like distracted and add little features like this. So yeah, what did I do today? I added a new, I added a new trigger, but it turns out that each editor, like I was, talking to ChatGPT, vibe coding away, but not really, like, just sort of like, oh, how would I do this? And it gives me a thing, and then it gives me a list of the different editors. I'm like, oh, okay, well, why not? Let's just, if you've got the list, then I'll let you take care of it. But it turns out that you do need different commands for each thing. And so we've got our different editors in here, and then we've got this kind of launch thing that it sort of wrote for me. But then it kind of like, so it sort of has different commands for different things, and it does this user bin launch path. But like this bit, basically it was like 2 hours like fighting with ChatGPT to actually like get it to work right. So I just put in, it was just missing the environment stuff, so I was just like forcing it, putting back in like some standard environment variables. So this may or may not work for you. But and then it turned out that it only worked in the non-sandboxed version of the app. And actually, like, it's sort of I only have the app sandboxed when I'm developing, because if you have it not sandboxed, then Xcode's SwiftUI previews break, which took me a long time to figure out. But so I just have it sandboxed for dev, but not for the release, because there's so many things that I do that are sort of not really sandbox compatible. But yeah, it took me like 2 hours to get to this, but finally I have this feature, and it feels kind of incomplete and fragile. But it's sort of like, this is the pitfall. Like I could have just made the video just like the last couple, done some screenshots, but I was like, wouldn't it be cool? And then programming tutorial creators will have this feature as well. And I'll just yeah, that's sort of why this video takes 2 hours instead of 2 minutes or 10 minutes. So if we go to, I'm going to go to my outro now, and just show you so this was made in CueCam Presenter, which looks like this. So are you seeing it? I don't even have my video pencil running today. So this is the script today. We want 5, we want 6. Thing is, right, so I don't want to sort of stop. I don't want to stop the presentation, because it's going to stop it recording. So I'm going to make it jump to this. And because I've switched between the sandbox and the normal thing, when I kind of try and jump to the next card, right now this should jump to my outro, which goes into the demo mode that I want. So I recorded this with CueCam Presenter, and here is my script. It looks like this. So what I had here was, am I definitely in demo mode? I am not. Yeah, no, we're in demo mode. So you see we've got our titles and things here, and then I've got a screenshot in there, but then I put a video in for that Coda landing page, because it only shows when you're not logged in. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? Lots of problems. You see, even with an amazing tool like CueCam, like filmmaking, video production is still a problem-solving process. So that's another reason you get sucked into these rabbit holes of adding features to the software, because like every different thing, think about filmmaking, like each special effect is its own like magic trick. It's kind of the same thing sometimes with even these just trying to figure out how I'm going to like present what I'm presenting today, and finding out, oh, how do you actually see the screen when you're logged out? I don't know, so I'll take a video of it and show that. And then we've got here's the Arc browser share, but it's the interest, and then Insomnium, but then here is my new trigger, so I can go more code editors, add in like Visual Studio Code, and then paste in a deep link with the file and the line number, and you can sort of like change the thing in there, and so that when I present this, it's going to jump to the right line. And that's what ended up taking all this time. But I did use it like a few times, so it's sort of like what it means is I could have my script like remind me what I'm talking about and jump me to the right file each time, which it's definitely made it work better. And then like this one, you see I've shared 2 different apps at the same time, so I could show you both Arc and Xcode at the same time. And then just something I'm doing now, which didn't work because I switched between the sandbox and the non-sandbox, so its index was out of date. But like this last card jumps to a different dock, so that when I kind of like, it goes into dev mode, but it means that then I can like look at the script, because otherwise this script would be in presentation mode. And then when I press stop, it would just stop recording. So, you know, this is another little thing that I figured out for recording my own videos. And so, you know, there's always something to think about. There's always some new challenge. So I've managed to make so many things easier, but like there's always something else to think about. And, you know, as the creator of the app, it can be even more sort of tempting to sort of like do different things. And I'll say, like, I did look at some, are there some tools that allow me to do deep links? What is, there's an Xcode plugin. People were talking about, what's it called? People were talking about Raycast. I thought maybe Raycast would do this and I wouldn't have to do it myself. But I just, you know, at a certain point, like I'll be trying to get someone else's tool to do something, but I'll also know that I could make my tool do it. And at a certain point, it feels like the effort of making someone else's thing do something in an awkward way is less of a good idea than making my own tool do it in like a neat way. Neatish, because you know, I think the code jump to code thing should really also share that application, whereas I was like copying the cards to make it share the same app again. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. It was a ramble-a-thon. I'll see you in